Well, I'm the perfect mid-Atlantic. I grew up in Wales on the island of Anglesey, and I grew up in Arizona out in the desert with all the saguaro cactus and the coyotes, and I grew up with horses and dogs, so it was a terrific way to grow up. Well, I'm really fortunate in having two fascinating parents. My father was an American, of British extract, a university professor, an Olympic-level horseman who competed in the 48 Olympic Games in 3-day eventing. My mother was Welsh, from a family in Wales that goes back to Roman times, and she was a teacher, but she was also an Olympic gymnast, competed in the 1948 Olympic Games in gymnastics. They were just two really vibrant, fascinating people with loads of anecdotes and great stories, and were immersed in history, and they were so interested in sharing this with children. So I picked up a lot from them, and I'm really lucky. Well, I think it's art, whether it be ballet, opera, music, books, Shakespeare, theatre. I think it always comes back to human experience and human drama and the story. Well, I'm a profound paranormalist. I grew up around a mother who was fascinated with the eerie and things that go bump in the night. So I kind of grew up immersed in it. So I don't see how I couldn't have been interested in vampires and creatures of the night. When I came to write this story, I had actually had a friend who was writing a vampire novel at the time, and I thought to myself, oh, I bet I could do one, and it's time I should write something like that, so I did. Well, I think initially I went in that direction because my father was a university professor. He was a professor of classical philosophy and a military historian, but I think I probably made Robin Dashwood a history professor because he's interested in history, having lived it for several hundred years, and he has a kind of interesting perspective on history. And he's also rather a nice person who likes people, he likes humans. So I think reaching out to young people to tell them something about the world he had seen would be something that would be important and meaningful for him. I think I knew when I read this wonderful novel by Barbara Willard, who was a wonderful writer for children in the 1960s. And she wrote a book called The Richleys of Tantamount, about a group of Victorian children that solve an exciting adventure on a remote island. It was so full of ghosts and mysteries and pirates and all sorts of exciting things that I had the thought that maybe one day I could write something kind of like it. And I hope I have.